Hey guys, this time I'm going to talk about The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past 2, and also some Wind Waker HD. So first off with A Link to the Past 2, which is now called A Link Between Worlds, Aonuma just announced today in an interview that it will actually be a new generation of Link and Zelda. So yeah, that kind of stuffs up most of my predictions. But I'm really confused by this, and I can't figure out whether or not it's just something in the translation getting mixed up or not, but Aonuma has said before that characters from A Link to the Past will return, and we'll be doing a lot more with them. But if it's a new generation, most of the characters from A Link to the Past will probably be dead. You'd imagine anyway. The way he talks about it is kind of like it's a new generation, so the topography and the environment has changed. You'd think if that had happened, well, you know, the characters might be long gone by that point. So I'm pretty confused at this point, especially considering that he said that the intro to the game was going to feature a big surprise and shock to long-time Zelda players. I don't know, maybe you start off playing as the Link from A Link to the Past and then ends up leading into a new generation, or... It's really hard to tell what they're doing with this, with the story in this one, actually, so I'm very interested to see what they end up doing. I will be a bit disappointed, though, if A Link to the Past era Link doesn't feature in it at all. Simply because he travelled to another land and went through Link's Awakening and all that just to prepare for Ganon. It kind of feels a bit cheap if he never gets his shot. But anyway, the other thing, there are a few other things that did come out of E3 about this game, though. Not a whole lot of story details did come out, but we've seen a huge amount of the Overworld. And weirdly enough, actually, most of it is exactly the same. That we've seen anyway. So in the E3 demo, you actually start off at Link's house, which is in the same place as it was in A Link to the Past. And basically you've got to make your way to the first dungeon, the Eastern Palace. Actually, wait, Eastern Palace, that's Zelda 2, isn't it? Anyway, so the first dungeon that was in A Link to the Past as well. And basically, yeah, it's basically all the same. The only difference is that some of the topography has changed, and the player now needs to use their new, drawing, or the ability that allows them to stick to a wall. They need to use that ability to, get around the environment and find some extra heart pieces. But for the most part, it's all stayed pretty much the same. The other thing is that there were also some hammer points near the first dungeon, which I don't believe were there in the original Link to the Past. I think hammer spots only appeared in the Dark World, or at least for the most part anyway. But yeah, but for the most part, the overworld seems to be exactly the same. It looks very, very nice, but it'll be interesting to see. I think if the overworld is exactly the same, it's going to be a bit boring, because I think a lot of us have already memorised the Link to the Past overworld pretty well. But it's hard to say at this point. I mean, it could actually just be the original Link to the Past overworld, and then a whole area outside of that as well, so that the world kind of grows bigger. There's a lot of things they could do. They could, take you around in time, or do a Sacred Realm version instead of a Dark World version, or anything like that. So a lot of people have been kind of worried that it's going to copy and paste A Link to the Past. I think at this point we probably haven't seen enough to actually make that judgment. But it is a little bit of a concern at this point. Either way, I mean, I'm sure I'll still enjoy the game. I'm sure most of us will still enjoy the game. And Aonuma has said that all the dungeons are completely new, as we've actually seen with the dungeon in the E3 demo. But yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit of A Link Between Worlds news. The other thing to note is that actually on the logo for Link Between Worlds, you can actually see you've got the Triforce, and then actually a black Triforce underneath it. So I don't know if, obviously hinting at another world, but whether it's the Dark World or not actually hasn't been confirmed. In the same interview, I believe it was anyway, where Aonuma actually confirmed that it was a new generation of Link and Zelda. He actually, he was asked if the Dark World would be returning, and he... What was it? He shrugged playfully, if I remember correctly. That was what it said. So yeah, no idea exactly what's going on with that either. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding this game, especially considering it comes out, for the holiday this year. So it's going to be very interesting once we get our hands on that. But anyway, the other big piece of Zelda news, of course, was the Wind Waker HD. And unfortunately, we're actually not getting any extra dungeons in it. I did actually understand his reasoning, though. He said that he knows that some people were hoping that the cut dungeons would get back in, but the cut dungeons, well, the dungeons that were cut from Wind Waker actually got used in other Zelda games. So I can definitely understand why you couldn't reuse them. An extra island or something would be nice, but he's pretty much said that they're not adding extra content to the game at all. So that is a bit disappointing. However, he has said that they are making pacing changes and balancing changes to the progression of the game to like improve the feel of the Triforce quest and some other more podding parts of the game. Plodding rather. So I hold out hope there'll be enough differences to make it worthwhile for us, veteran Wind Waker players. But aside from that, they showed off the fast sail, so you can actually get around the ocean really fast, and I think that was a great addition. That honestly kind of makes it a partially worthwhile purchase for me, just because it cuts travel time pretty much in half from what I could tell. And the message in a bottle from Tingle with the Miiverse feature, that actually seemed pretty cool to me. I could see some really cool applications for that, and I think that it really fits the whole style of the game with the a bottle in the ocean. So I'm kind of interested to see the extent of what players can actually do with that, and what will actually happen with that. It could be fun. It could be fun. But yeah, I've got to say, for a lot of people, I don't know whether this will be enough to pick up the game again or not. I kind of feel like they've treated it in a lot of cases with the same reverence as Ocarina of Time, in that nothing can be changed. Whereas I would have actually liked them to branch out a bit more and just add a little bit more content. Even if it's only like an extra island or something like that, it would be nice. But we'll have to see closer to release. I mean, it's not too far off at this point. Only 4 months, I believe. But yeah. So, needless to say, I'll end up picking it up. I mean, I'm a huge Zelda fanatic, but it would be nice to see additional content. But anyway. So that is pretty much my thoughts on the Zelda news, so thanks all for watching guys, and I will see you later.